You know, when we decided to do this deep dive into all the stuff surrounding Diddy, it was clear right away this was going to be a tough one.
Yeah,
We're talking serious accusations here, sexual assault, maybe even minors involved, and a whole mess of power dynamics in the music world.
definitely a lot to unpack.
To really get into it, we've got legal documents, people speaking out firsthand, and even some expert opinions to sort through.
It's a story that kind of spirals out, You
Right.
start with one big event, and then you got to follow all the ripples.
Exactly. And to really trace those ripples, I think we need to go back to 2018, to that shooting at Trump National Doral.
Ah, right, the incident with Jonathan Audi.
Does that ring a bell?
Yeah, that's kind of the whole trigger for everything that comes after. It's a wild scene. You have a shooting at a golf course owned by, Donald Trump, and then Audi starts making some very serious claims about Diddy.
Let's actually hear from Audi directly. This is a clip from his interrogation after the shooting. Wow. He's saying he was basically forced into a sexual relationship with Cassie at Diddy's demand.
Sex slave were his exact words.
And it's important to remember, Audi doesn't stop there.
No, he doesn't. He goes on to allege Diddy was involved in all sorts of criminal activity, part of a whole network of powerful people using their influence in some pretty messed up ways. Audi even says he got a $5 million settlement from Diddy.
That's a word we hear a lot, settlement.
Mhm.
Can you break that down for us? What does that actually mean in this context for both Diddy and Audi?
A settlement like this would probably mean that Diddy paid Audi money to drop any legal claims against him. It's a way to avoid a long public trial.
So it's not an admission of guilt.
Right. Settlements don't automatically mean guilt, but they do raise questions, especially with accusations like these.
So we've got this dramatic shooting as our starting point, then these unsettling allegations from Audi. And to make things even more complicated, we have rapper Lord Jamar coming into the picture. He's got some strong opinions about Diddy and something he calls a gay mafia that's running the music industry.
Lord Jamar is definitely known for speaking his mind.
Yeah, he doesn't hold back.
And his take on this situation, well, it's no exception. Let's hear what he has to say.
He's basically saying Diddy is part of the secret group controlling the music industry from the shadows.
Yeah, and it's really important to keep in mind this is just one person's opinion. It's a compelling story, but it's crucial to separate opinions from actual evidence.
That's a good point. It makes me think about Diddy's lawsuit against Diageo, the company behind Ciroc. Lord Jamar suggests that this legal battle was actually what brought Diddy down. Like, he lost the support of powerful people by going against them.
That's an interesting angle. If you combine that with his gay mafia claim, it creates this kind of Godfather-esque picture where power is in the hands of a select few, and if you cross them, there are serious consequences.
Like that saying, if you come at the king, you best not miss. And it's not just Lord Jamar making these claims. We also have someone named Freddie P. He claims to have insider knowledge of the music industry, and he says Diddy used a tactic called blackballing to control artists and make them do what he wanted.
Right. Blackballing basically means that someone or a group of people are intentionally shut out from opportunities.
So in the music industry, this could be things like losing out on collaborations, radio play, all those things that help an artist succeed.
Exactly. And Freddie P even names Rick Ross and DJ Khaled, saying they wouldn't work with him because of Diddy's influence.
Okay, let's hear what Freddie P actually said about this. It sounds like he truly believes Diddy was trying to ruin his career.
His account definitely points to a ruthless side of the music industry. All these claims of blackballing and manipulation really highlight how power can be used to stifle creativity and control the narrative.
It really makes you wonder how much of what we see in the music world is real and how much is just carefully crafted. But as disturbing as these power plays are, things get even darker, listener, when we look at the lawsuit filed by attorney Tony Busby. This is where the claims go from manipulation to accusations of sexual assault.
And these accusations are extremely serious. The lawsuit claims Diddy used his position to pressure, maybe even drug, teenagers and minors into sexual acts.
The details in the lawsuit are really graphic. We're talking about Diddy using his power to coerce minors, possible instances of rape, and victims waking up injured after blacking out.
This lawsuit is a major escalation in the accusations against Diddy. If it's true, the consequences could be huge.
It's just awful to think about the trauma these alleged victims might have gone through. And the fact that the trial will be open to the public means we could be hearing even more shocking things, maybe even about other people involved.
We're talking about a case that could have implications far beyond just Diddy. This could be a turning point for the whole music industry, forcing a real reckoning with how power is used and abused.
Yeah.
And the accusations don't stop there. This lawsuit also says that Diddy actually filmed these encounters.
Like he recorded it.
Yeah, and it goes on to say he might have used these recordings to blackmail people.
Whoa, tapes, blackmail. This is getting into some serious territory.
It definitely adds another layer of darkness to all of this. This is where Gene Deal's testimony comes in. Remember, he was Diddy's security guard. He mentions these tapes and talks about Diddy having a super high-tech surveillance system in his house.
Let's hear what Deal actually said. It almost sounds like he's implying that Diddy was recording people to have something over them, maybe to keep them quiet.
It's a scary thought, right?
Oh.
Imagine the power you'd have if you had compromising footage of famous people, politicians, anyone with influence. The potential for manipulation is huge.
Absolutely. And it's not just Deal's claims we have to consider. Courtney Burgess, who was close friends with both Diddy and Gene Deal, actually came forward to testify against Diddy.
Burgess's testimony makes these claims a lot more credible. She says Homeland Security has 8 video files on 11 different flash drives showing Diddy doing inappropriate things with minors.
Wait, so we're not just talking about allegations of filming, we're talking about actual videos seized by Homeland Security.
That's what Burgess says, yeah. And there's more. An unnamed witness who apparently saw these tapes gave even more disturbing details about what was on them.
Okay, what did this witness say? Wow. So if what this witness says is true, we could be talking about underage people, drunk or drugged, being filmed without their consent. That's a truly horrifying image.
And the witness's last statement that all 8 people looked like victims is really disturbing. If it's true, it suggests a pattern of predatory behavior, taking advantage of people who might not have been able to consent.
This is just so disturbing. It's not even just about Diddy's actions anymore. It's about the people around him who might have looked the other way or even helped him do these things.
That's a really important point. It makes you ask, how deep does this go? As more information comes out, who else could be involved? And what does it say about the music industry that something like this could even happen?
We've heard a lot about a culture of silence and intimidation in the industry. Could this be an example of how powerful people have been able to keep victims quiet and avoid consequences for so long?
It's definitely possible. The entertainment world is all about image and reputation, which can make it easy for exploitation to happen. If these allegations are true, they could point to a much bigger problem.
It's pretty unsettling to think about. And this case reminds me of the whole #MeToo movement. All those people who came forward to share their stories of abuse and harassment in Hollywood and beyond. Do you see any parallels there?
Absolutely. The #MeToo movement showed us just how widespread sexual misconduct is in many industries, especially those where power dynamics are really imbalanced. If this case turns out to be true, it could be another example of how the music industry is not immune to these problems.
This case goes way beyond Diddy. It makes us all think about how we, as a society, deal with these issues, how we protect people who are vulnerable, and how we make sure abusers are held accountable. But we also have to remember, these are still just allegations. Diddy is innocent until proven guilty in court.
That's right. It's important to let the legal process play out. But no matter what happens in court, these accusations have already hurt Diddy's image, and that could be a permanent thing.
Even if he's never convicted, his reputation has definitely taken a hit. But this case could have even bigger implications, shedding light on the whole casting couch culture in Hollywood and how power can be abused in those circles.
It's a sobering thought. These allegations, if they're true, expose a really dark side of the entertainment world. A world where dreams are made, but also where power can be used to take advantage of and hurt people.
It's a harsh reminder that behind all the glamour and fame, there can be a very different reality. And in this case, that reality could be one of fear, silence, and exploitation.
You know, it's interesting. We often see celebrities as these untouchable figures, almost like gods. But this case shows how the potential for abuse exists everywhere, even in those seemingly perfect worlds.
Right. And this whole experience has been so disturbing, but also kind of eye-opening. It's making me think about the responsibility we all have as fans, as consumers of this entertainment. Are we part of the problem when we ignore the rumors or just focus on the fun parts?
That's a really good question. Maybe we need to be more critical of the stories we're told, both by the media and by the artists themselves. Maybe we need to be willing to challenge the way things are and hold those in power responsible for their actions.
And what about the future of the music industry? How can we create a safer environment, especially for young artists who are just starting out and might be more vulnerable to these kinds of things?
This is a big problem that needs a big solution. I think we need more transparency in the industry, more accountability. We need better support systems for artists and ways for them to report abuse without being afraid of what will happen to them.
And maybe, just maybe, this case can be what makes that change happen. If more people who have been hurt feel like they can speak out, it could force the music industry to finally confront these issues.
I really hope that happens. It's clear that the music industry, just like many other industries, needs to face its dark side. It's time for a change in the culture where safety, respect, and accountability are more important than profits and image.
You know, listener, we've covered a lot in this deep dive. We've looked at some really disturbing accusations, talked about how power works, and considered the possibility of real change. We started with a shooting at a golf course, and it led us deep into the heart of the music industry, revealing a side that's usually hidden behind all the glitz and glamour.
And this case is still going on. There's no doubt that we'll learn more as time goes on. But even now, it's a stark reminder that we need to pay attention, ask questions, and demand better from the systems and industries that shape our world.
It's a lot to think about, but it's a conversation we can't avoid. This isn't just about Diddy. It's about holding those with power accountable, protecting people who are vulnerable, and making a world where everyone can follow their dreams without being afraid of being used and hurt. Remember, there's always more to the story than what we see on the surface. Keep asking questions, keep digging deeper, and never be afraid to challenge the way things are.
It's a reminder that power dynamics exist everywhere, and the music business is no different. The whole idea of fame and fortune can create this environment where people in power think they can get away with anything.
It's true. This whole case has been so messed up, but also eye-opening, you know?
Yeah,
It makes you think about the responsibility we all have as fans. Are we playing a part when we ignore the rumors or just focus on the entertainment side of things?
that's a deep question. I think we need to be way more critical of the stories we're fed, both by the media and the artists themselves. We got to be willing to challenge things and hold those in power accountable.
And thinking about the future of the music industry, how do we make things safer? Especially for young artists who are just starting out and might be more susceptible to this kind of abuse.
It's a huge problem that needs a huge solution. I think we need more transparency, more accountability, stronger support for artists, and ways for them to report abuse without being afraid.
And maybe this case, with all the attention it's getting, can actually be the thing that pushes for that change. If more people who've been hurt feel strong enough to speak out, it could really force the music industry to face these issues.
I hope so. It's obvious that the music industry, like a lot of other industries, needs to deal with its dark side. It's time for a culture shift, one where safety and respect and accountability matter more than profits and image.
You know, listener, we've covered a lot of heavy stuff in this deep dive. We looked at some disturbing accusations, talked about the complexities of power, and explored the possibility of real change. Starting with a shooting at a golf course, this whole thing led us into the depths of the music industry, showing a side you don't usually see behind all the glitz and glamour.
This case is far from over. We're going to learn more as time goes on. But right now, it's a powerful reminder to be aware, ask tough questions, and demand better from the systems and industries that shape our world.
This is a lot to take in, but it's a conversation we can't ignore. This isn't just about Diddy. This is about holding those in power accountable, protecting those who are vulnerable, and building a world where everyone can pursue their dreams without fear of exploitation and abuse. Remember, there's always more to the story than meets the eye. Keep questioning, keep digging deeper, and never be afraid to challenge the status quo. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.